So are you ready to like really get into the mind of Cat Williams?
Oh, yeah.
You know him for his outrageous stand-up, but
Mm-hmm.
today we're going deep into an interview he did on Shannon Sharpe's Club Shay.
Okay.
And let me tell you,
Right.
Cat did not hold back.
Yeah.
We're talking his thoughts on the whole comedy industry,
Interesting.
some pretty serious allegations against other big names,
Wow, okay.
and even a glimpse into like his personal life.
Oh, cool.
It's going to be wild.
Buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up for sure.
I think what struck me the most was how intentional Kat was about this interview.
Yeah.
Like, he specifically chose Shannon Sharpe
Yeah.
because he really believes it's a place where honest conversations can happen.
Yeah.
Seems like he really wanted to set the record straight.
Yes, and he says that right away.
Right.
Like, he's not there to sell anything.
Right.
No tour, no special, nothing.
Interesting.
He's just there to, like, speak his truth.
Okay, wow. Yeah, that's powerful.
Which leads us to our first bombshell.
All right, hit me.
Friday after next controversy.
Oh, yeah.
So remember the character Money Mike?
Of course, Money Mike is iconic.
Well, comedian Ricky Smiley,
Okay.
you know him from the prank calls,
Right, yeah, the morning show guy.
he claimed that he was actually offered that role first,
Really?
and that Cat was going to play Santa Claus.
Wow, I never heard that.
And Cat shut that down hard.
What did he say?
Not only did he deny it,
Okay.
he went on to explain how he actually got a scene about sexual assault
Oh, wow.
removed from the original script.
That's intense.
He even says he wrote all of Money Mike's lines.
Oh, really?
Like, he crafted the whole character.
Huh. So he's saying it was his creation from top to bottom.
Pretty much. And it's one thing to just deny it, right?
Right.
But he really backed it up.
Yeah.
He's like, there's no evidence from anyone else.
To support Smiley's version of events?
Yeah, he wants people to really think about, like, whose story makes more sense.
That's a good point. I mean, it makes you wonder what's really going on behind the scenes.
Right, and this wasn't the only time he called out a fellow comedian.
Oh, really? Who else?
He had some strong words for Steve Harvey,
Wow, Steve Harvey.
you know, the game show host,
The king of comedy? Yeah.
and Cedric the Entertainer
Oh, wow.
from Barbershop Kings of Comedy.
Yeah, I know Cedric.
He accused them, along with Ricky Smiley,
Okay, so all three of them.
of stealing jokes,
Ooh.
not putting in the work.
Like being lazy?
Yeah, and even fabricating their backstories.
Whoa, hold on. Fabricating their backstories.
Yeah.
Like making up their past.
Exactly.
That's a bold accusation.
It is, and he gives some specific examples, too.
Like what?
He claims that he tracks how many laughs each comedian gets per minute
Laughs per minute.
of their set to compare.
So, like, he's got a system.
Yeah, he's got like a whole system for this.
Okay, whether or not that's a good way to measure success,
Right.
that's debatable, but it shows how serious he is.
Oh, he's serious about it.
He's taking this very seriously.
And he even brings up that you can't find Cedric the Entertainer specials on Netflix or Tubi.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I've never seen them.
And for him, that's a sign that they're just not good enough.
Ouch, yeah, that's a bird.
Pat Williams.
Classic Cat.
Classic Cat. Yeah.
He's weaving in those observations.
Uh-huh.
A little humor, a little shade.
Right.
And it all comes down to this idea that there are real comedians who work hard,
Right.
and then there's other guys who are basically coasting.
Coasting on their connections.
Yeah, or on some gimmick.
It's like he's drawing a line.
He's saying this is how it's done.
Yeah, this is how real comedians do it.
And I'm one of the real ones.
Exactly. And he talks about tailoring each show to his audience,
Oh,
like showing his range.
connecting with them personally.
Yeah. And he contrasts that with what he sees as laziness.
Okay, yeah, a lack of originality.
Right.
So this is where we see Kat's whole philosophy on comedy.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting laughs.
Mhm.
It's an art form.
It's like a craft.
It requires dedication,
Constant evolution.
a commitment to truth-telling,
Truth-telling. Yeah. And he feels like that's missing.
missing in a lot of mainstream comedy today.
Yeah. And speaking of truth-telling,
Okay.
he gets really personal in this interview.
About what?
He talks about growing up as a Jehovah's Witness,
Wow, okay.
then selling products door to door, like all over the country as a teenager.
Really? Wow, that's hustling.
He even mentions living with sex workers in Oklahoma.
Whoa, hold on, what?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's wild, but it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, like those personal stories,
Yeah.
they give you a fuller picture.
Of who he is.
Yeah, he's not just that persona on stage.
Right.
He's had these diverse, sometimes difficult experiences,
Mhm.
and they've shaped him, and it makes you think,
Yeah.
how do those experiences come out in his comedy?
Right. And then he drops this bomb.
Okay, what now?
He says that before Friday After Next.
Yeah.
He was actually homeless for 2 years, and he was living in a trailer on the set of the movie.
No way.
With his son.
With his son.
Yeah.
That's hard to imagine,
Yes, I know.
someone who's now like a comedy icon
Right.
going through something like that.
It really makes you question those Hollywood success stories.
Right, because it's not always what it seems.
Exactly, and that's just the beginning.
There's more.
There's so much more.
Oh, man.
He goes deeper into his philosophy and his experiences.
Okay, so in the next part.
Yeah, in the next part, we're going to get into all that.
I can't wait.
It's going to be good.
All right, let's do it.
Stay tuned.
So, Katt's known for that over-the-top persona on stage.
Yeah.
But in this interview, I was struck by,
Hmm.
how sincere he was when he talked about his philosophy on life.
I know, it's like a different side of him.
Yeah. He really emphasizes living each day like it's your last.
Yeah, and I found it so interesting how he connects that to his decision-making.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
Like, he talks about turning down opportunities.
Okay.
Big money, even if
Yeah.
it means compromising his values.
That's powerful.
It makes you think about the price of fame,
Yeah.
How hard it must be to stay true to yourself.
Especially in that industry.
Yeah, where everything's about image and profit.
It's a tough balance.
And this idea comes up a lot in the interview.
Okay. How so?
Well, he brings up this one instance
Okay.
where he says he turned down a role
Oh, really?
in a Martin Lawrence movie.
Wow. A Martin Lawrence movie.
Yeah, and he said he found the character offensive.
Why is that?
The character was written to be cross-dressing,
Oh, I see.
and he felt like it was playing into harmful stereotypes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He wasn't willing to be a part of it.
That's a bold move.
It is, especially when you think about how big that could have been for his career.
Exactly. And it's interesting because he's very critical of Tyler Perry.
Yeah, he doesn't hold back there.
What does he say about Tyler Perry?
He accuses him of not doing enough to, uplift other Black actors.
Okay.
And of perpetuating negative representations in his films.
So he sees a difference there.
Yeah, it's like he's drawing a line between authentic representation
Okay.
and what he sees as exploitative or harmful.
I see. So he's really trying to be mindful of the impact of his work.
Yeah, and it's not just in his career choices.
Oh, right. What else?
He talks about supporting Melora Hardin,
Okay.
the actress, in getting her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh, wow.
He paid for the whole thing himself.
Really? That's incredibly generous.
I know, right? It shows a different side to him.
Yeah, he's not just this controversial comedian.
Right.
He's actually using his platform and his resources
Yeah, to help others.
to celebrate those who he feels deserve recognition.
Exactly, and his generosity extends beyond Hollywood, too.
Oh, how so?
He talks about donating a portion of his earnings from his tours to
Oh.
local homeless shelters.
That's amazing.
Yeah, in the communities he visits.
So he's really putting his money where his mouth is.
It's like he's challenging this idea
Of what?
that charity and social justice can be performative.
Oh, yeah. Just for show.
Right, and he's like, no, I'm actually doing the work.
It's a powerful statement.
It is, and it makes you think about his views on cancel culture.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big one.
It's a hot-button topic these days.
It is, and he has a really unique take on it.
He does, especially in relation to Jonathan Majors
Okay.
and those recent assault allegations against him.
Yeah, that's been all over the news.
He questions the public's reaction.
Okay.
And he suggests there's a double standard when it comes to Black men in Hollywood.
What does he mean by that?
It's like he's saying cancel culture isn't always about accountability.
Okay.
It can be used to unfairly target certain people
I see.
while others get a free pass.
So he's saying it's not applied equally.
Right. And he specifically criticizes how the industry built up this image of Majors
Okay.
as this heartthrob.
Right.
And then that same image is being used to discredit him.
Interesting. So he's pointing out the hypocrisy there.
Yeah, and he even mentions Megan Thee Stallion intervening in Tory Lanez's sentencing.
That was a whole other situation.
As another example of how the system quickly demonizes Black men.
So he's tying these cases together.
He is. It's a nuanced argument.
It is.
It makes you think about how cancel culture intersects with race,
Yeah.
gender, and power dynamics.
Especially in Hollywood.
Right. And he's not defending Major's alleged actions,
Okay.
but he's raising important questions about how we judge guilt and innocence.
In the court of public opinion.
Exactly.
And it goes back to that idea of truth-telling.
Yes.
He's challenging us to look beyond the surface, to consider the motivations,
Yeah.
to recognize that the pursuit of justice isn't always straightforward or impartial.
That's a good point. And he also had some things to say about the political landscape.
Oh, really? What were his thoughts on that?
Well, he's pretty disappointed with both parties.
Okay.
He says neither one is truly serving the people.
So he's not picking sides?
No, he's calling out what he sees as a lack of genuine representation.
For the black community.
Yeah, and a focus on self-interest over the well-being of all citizens.
That's a sentiment I think a lot of people share.
I think so too, and his frustration is really clear.
Especially when he talks about his own experiences with the legal system.
Right, he's been arrested numerous times.
Yeah.
Often for what he considers to be minor offenses.
And he's very open about the distrust he has for law enforcement.
He is particularly in how they interact with black individuals.
His accounts of these encounters are raw and unfiltered.
They are. It's like a glimpse into a side of him.
Yeah, that most people don't see.
Right, the side that doesn't make it into his stand-up routines.
It's a reminder that even with his wealth and fame,
Yeah.
he still faces the realities of being a black man in America.
You know, and what I appreciate is that even when he's talking about these serious topics, he still brings in that humor.
That's Katt Williams.
It's like he doesn't let the weight of these issues crush the whole interview.
Yeah.
He'll make a sharp observation.
Right.
A witty comment.
And it breaks the tension.
Exactly. And it makes even the heavy stuff more digestible.
It's a delicate balance he strikes.
It is.
And it's part of what makes him so captivating.
Yeah.
He can be provocative, controversial, even confrontational.
Right.
But there's also this vulnerability
Yeah.
and humor that shines through.
I agree.
It's like he's inviting us to laugh with him, even as he's challenging our assumptions
Right.
and making us think critically about the world.
So we've talked about who Katt calls out,
Right.
but I'm curious about who he actually admires.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Like, who does he look up to in the comedy world?
Well, he definitely has some interesting things to say about Dave Chappelle.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering about that.
You can tell there's a ton of respect there.
Yeah.
I think Katt sees a lot of himself in Chappelle.
Mhm.
They're both fearless,
Yeah.
speaking their minds.
Stringent boundaries.
Exactly. And Katt brings up that story of Chappelle walking away from that $50 million deal.
Oh, yeah, the Comedy Central deal.
Yeah, he sees that as like the ultimate act of integrity.
Wow, putting principles above profit.
Exactly, and Katt actually claims the amount was even higher than what was reported.
Really?
Yeah, so it makes it even more significant.
It's a powerful statement.
It is. It's like he's saying, look, this is what it means to stand up for what you believe in.
Even when it means sacrificing a fortune.
Right, it goes back to that theme of authenticity.
Yeah.
Katt sees Chappelle as someone who gets it.
Gets what?
The power of staying true to yourself.
Even when it means going against the grain.
Yeah, even when it means losing out on mainstream success.
And it seems like that's what Katt wants for his own career.
I think so too. He also spoke really highly of Nick Cannon.
Oh, yeah, what about Nick Cannon?
He describes him as like a protege.
Interesting.
He's known Cannon since he was a teenager.
Wow.
And he talks about always looking out for him.
There's a real sense of mentorship there.
There is like a big brother kind of vibe.
And protection.
Yeah, he talks about his role on Wild and Out as being that voice of reason.
Making sure things didn't get out of hand.
Exactly. He didn't want the jokes to turn into real-life conflicts.
It shows a different side to him, you know?
It does. It shows that he's not just about the laughs.
Right. He's thinking about the well-being of others.
Especially someone he sees as a younger brother in the industry.
Yeah. And speaking of responsibility, Katt doesn't shy away from his own struggles.
Right. He's very open about his past.
Yeah, he talks about the arrests.
His substance abuse.
And he owns those experiences.
He doesn't make excuses.
He doesn't. It's like he's saying, this is part of who I am.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes him relatable.
It does. It's refreshing to hear that kind of honesty.
Especially from someone in the public eye.
Yeah, he's not trying to present this perfect image.
No, he's acknowledging his mistakes.
And he frames them as part of his journey.
It's like he's learned from them.
He's grown from those challenges.
And they've become part of his story.
Part of what he brings to the stage.
It's that self-awareness that I think is so important.
I agree, especially for a comedian.
Yeah, who's dealing with such sensitive material.
Right. It's not just about getting laugh.
It's about sharing his truth, his perspective.
Connecting with the audience on a deeper level.
So we've covered a lot in this deep dive.
We have.
Katt's criticisms, his philosophies, his personal stories, even his vulnerabilities.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
What's your biggest takeaway from all of this?
I think Katt Williams challenges us to really think critically.
About what?
About everything.
Everything.
The entertainment industry, the systems we live in,
Yeah.
even ourselves.
He's not afraid to ask those uncomfortable questions.
No, he's not.
To expose hypocrisy, to demand better.
He's a reminder that the truth matters.
Even when it's inconvenient.
Even when it's controversial.
And maybe even more importantly, he reminds us that staying true to yourself is its own reward.
It's a powerful message.
It is. It might not always be easy.
No, it won't be.
It might cost you opportunities.
But in the end, authenticity is what allows you to connect with others.
In a meaningful way.
And to use your voice to make a difference in the world.
Exactly. So as you continue to engage with Katt's work, think about what resonated with you. What challenged your assumptions.
What inspires you to live more authentically?
That's a great point. That's it for our deep dive on Katt Williams.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time.